Dear lovers of nature and her gardens, broadcasters of seeds and their stories, librarians of the open-pollinated and voracious locavores, I hope this letter finds you well and working especially hard in your gardens, libraries, and kitchens while enjoying another year of growing and sharing food and seeds. I am writing to you with a desire to know more about seeds and seed libraries, as well as the people who aspire to make both of these grow. This letter asks several questions, some of which I hope you might feel keen to respond to. And most importantly, this correspondence is a shout out to all the folks who are growing, saving, and sharing seeds, and have seed stories to broadcast. What are seed stories? Seed stories are difficult to locate as specific subjects. Like seeds, they are entangled in a meshwork of cycles and interconnections across history, pollinating the thoughts and memories of our everyday fare. They are connected to the people who enact them, yet they reach out and touch others in the most unexpected ways. Like seeds that are shared at libraries and swaps, seed stories are not necessarily stories from the past. They are stories right now. They are each of us as we practice what it means to be 21st century cultivators of vitality through the seeds we save, share, and plant. These stories are present in the lived labor of possibility. Every time we sow a seed, harvest its yield, allow space for the growth of more, and pass these seeds on to others. Continuing the movement and putting into practice an intention to make a truly viable food web in the hands of people. As a spectrum of expressions, from the pragmatic how-tos of saving seeds and community organizing of seed libraries, to the deeply rooted, awe-inspiring, magical tale of a sprout, each and every seed story is important. These stories bring together a familiar perception of the way people and seeds create communities of interchange, feeding people around the world while creating agricultural environments to make more seed and food. Seed stories are the roots of agricultural inclinations that every human alive and throughout history has participated in. Even though we might not all save seeds or grow food, everyone eats. And if we think about it, almost all of our foods, grains, vegetables, fruits, and nuts are either derived from seeds or are literally a production component of the botanical seed-bearing process. We all carry seed stories, and we are all writing these stories right now. What stories will these seeds share? I have a very distinct memory of playing in giant grain wagons filled with corn and soybeans as a child. Growing up on a small Midwestern farm in the 1970s and 80s, I remember this vividly, but only now. This memory is ironic, for now, instead of frolicking around in 300 bushels of number 2 yellow dent corn, bound for the feed grinder or the local elevator, I find myself holding a profound stash of corn seeds, the color of earthly gems. These kernels carry with them a deep lifeline of people working together, committed to feeding communities year after year while planting seeds of hope for an abundant and diverse harvest. Brought forward through history as a need and desire for life, these seeds have been passed between thousands of dedicated hands to the soil and back again. This half-pound of seed produces all of the corny meals for my family of 4, plus enough to save and share for the next year. Cornmeal, tortillas, pozole, tamales, and of course fresh roasted corn. It also produces fodder for the goats, a trellis for beans, shade for greens, and a jungle-like habitat for a plethora of creatures. It has taught me to listen very carefully to the sound of corn growing and the conversations at play in this microecology. Translating these myriad of interactions, one finds other ways to see and explore cultural logics of diversity, which counter the agricultural sublime of weedless, colossal, homogenized figures of green, modified over the last 100 years as the necessary companions of machines and globalization. This motley corn, a radical among cultivars, desires to be hand-planted in a rowdy patch of melons and squash in triplets per basin. Its seasonal life is never the same from year to year. Some years it is short, or it is tall, its kernels in rows and are squeezed into hexagonal patterns, colored blue, red, yellow, white, pink, sunburst, speckled, translucent, and opaque. It is never the same. It is always changing, responding to the present conditions of soil, water, and sun, the cycles of pests and pollinators, and even the moon. Its genius enfolds adaptability, variability, and collectivity. While never submitting to a precise measure of character, it is never inhibited by the standardized protocol of monomimicry and industrialization. It is necessarily social and always at work within a community of others. A process striving to become seed once again and be planted the next year. This corn is an expert of probability, survival, and inquiring how to. It is through this process that I come to see myself in this narrative, for my own agency and subjectivity is implicit in how these garden dialogues evolve. These conversations affect me as I reflect and act with the intention to grow food and also grow my thinking, to engage in critical agricultural practices, to plant and cultivate and spend time listening, to grow and learn, to lose control at times and allow the resulting chaos to be my creative mentor. As this story accumulates, it moves me to believe that every seed and every seed saver, and every grower and lover of food have crucial stories to share. This wealth of local, practical, and creative know-how is a site of unconditional knowledge building and the frontier of a truly innovative, people-based food practice. In solidarity, a SeedBroadcaster. P.S. What stories will your seeds share?